Hi, Professor Hartzell. This is Amanda Paris submitting my extra credit video. So it looks like there's some questions that I can answer to tell you about my experience in COM 415. So the first question is, why did you choose to enroll and what did you hope to learn? So the reason why I chose COM 415 was because the name itself kind of interested me, and the fact that this was my first comm class at Cal State Long Beach, I was kind of excited for it. I didn't know what to expect. I don't really read a lot of Rate My Professors or anything like that just because I like to go in fresh and kind of see just for myself what the experience will be like. Um, what were my favorite discussions, readings, presentations? Um, Overall, I liked a lot of the discussions. I think the most interesting ones to me were the ones where they were uncomfortable, just because, when you think of school and you think of what is appropriate and what's not, it was really interesting to see and listen to other people's points of views without fear of reprimand or any sort of, you know, being told that that's not right or that's not okay to feel that way. And it was actually really, I thought, very constructive. So the next question, what was the most interesting, important, or significant thing you learned? Um, I feel like I learned a lot in this class just because, again, this was my first comp rhetoric as well as communications. It really opened my eyes because not really majoring in rhetoric, this really exposed me to all of the, I guess, hidden agendas, subliminal messages, sorry, that are prevalent in society. So it just really made me aware of everything I'm told and what I see, not only in the media, but also just everywhere around you, whether it's companies, corporations, at work, within school, how everything, kind of plays on rhetoric. And I really like that. And it really just, again, forced me to think outside the box, something that I'm not used to doing. And I'm really glad this was my first rhetoric class, just because, again, it exposed me to things that I wasn't exposed to before. As an English major, I'm more of a literature major, so this isn't something that I deal with a lot. And, even the argumentation side of it is very different when the class itself is geared towards rhetoric. Let me see. The next question, what would you have changed about this course? Um, Nothing really. I really appreciated how you handled, the mediation of the different topics, especially the very controversial ones. For example, whenever we start talking about like ethnic minorities or representation in the school, I really appreciate the fact that you allowed people to speak their mind, but also kind of reined it in when it felt a little bit of an attack on a certain group of people, when we're supposed to be able to discuss this openly without fear of attack. So I like that you were able to understand what they were saying but also rein in, you know what they were saying. It's still a classroom, it's still a controlled environment, and I really appreciated that you were able to kind of mediate between those waters. And I don't really think I would have changed anything. I really like that a lot of people brought their different opinions to the table, and exposed me to things I would have never thought of. I don't think of when I walk into class how many Hispanics there are, how many Mexican women there are, but it is definitely something that I guess other people are aware of, and it forced me to also be aware of that. Just again, realizing the privilege that some people have over others, that was also eye-opening and very informative for me. Um, what advice do I have for future students? My advice to you or to other future students would just be to really, as long as you participate and you really critically focus and critically think about the material we're reading, it is very beneficial. When I first thought of it, I kept thinking, what does that even mean with political protests and social movements? Um, and it's funny because when I go to work, I work a lot. I work full time, and a lot of the conversations that I have with my other colleagues, or even my supervisors and my bosses, it usually started with, "Wow, you'll never guess what we talked about today in my Com 415 class," and the topics that I would bring up to them, they were very surprised, like, wow, I never thought of it that way, or I would have never thought that's something you discuss in the classroom. And I said, you don't understand, like, this class is really opening my eyes, and it's combating those, predispositions that we have. And I really enjoyed that. And again, a lot of my conversations at work, which are outside of school, outside of everything else, outside of my home life, they were very constructive, and they opened my eyes to other people's points of views. That was a conversation starter, and talking to other people, oh wow, that's an interesting point of view, I never thought of it that way. And my advice again is just really take advantage of what we're learning and what's presented to you, because this is a very good environment to learn it at, is at school, and a place where you can say what you want without fear of being fired or fear of being reprimanded, because once we walk out these doors, it's a different story. So I guess overall I want to say thank you, for giving me this opportunity to take this course. And I'm glad I didn't really have any expectations when I came in, just because you did set the bar high for me for future classes I'm going to take. That's not just flattery, that's sincerity. Just because again you're very open-minded and very willing to hear everyone's side of things and point of view, and I really appreciate that from a professor, especially now at the day and age with everything going on. It's hard to navigate through all these, like, troublesome times and everything going on. So again, I really appreciate it. Thank you.